Hello, how's it going, people? So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you the best setup for a Klaviyo slash email marketing welcome flow moving into 2026. This video is going to include tips and tricks for how you can get the most out of your flow itself, opportunities to maximize your conversion rate, and how you can optimize building a solid relationship with your readers. So, enough of the time wasting. Let's jump into it. So, first things first, for the welcome flow. The trigger for this flow is going to be when someone joins your list. Now, this list will be sourced from multiple places. It may be the opt-in at the bottom of your website. It may be your pop-up form. Essentially, when someone subscribes to email marketing, this is going to be your trigger. After this, within your setup, you're going to have no time delay. As soon as someone signs up, you're going to want to send them an email, so you're not wasting time. If you have a 20% off incentive for someone signing up, you don't want them waiting about for that. So as soon as they sign up, they get an email. Now, looking at email 1, 9 times out of 10, when you go through your inbox, you sign up to a brand, you like what they're doing, you sign up and they say, thanks for signing up, here's your welcome discount. And it's big, massive images and colors and things about the brand and all this fancy stuff, right? Imagine you're walking into a shop. Imagine you're going to a boss man shop down the road. How would you feel if you walked into the shop and the person behind the counter just shoved a poster into your face, and it was a big fancy design poster? And it was, here are all our products. Buy now, buy now, buy now. How'd you feel? You'd be like, oh, okay, I'll have a look around, but whatever. However, how would you feel if when you walked into that shop, the guy who runs it came up to you and he shook your hand and he said, hey, welcome. Here's a bit about me. Here's a bit about what we do. Since you're part of the community now, here's your offer. If you need a hand with anything, let us know. You feel a lot more welcomed into the community. You feel a lot more incentivized to buy. This is what really makes you stand out in the inbox. Instead of using a big, heavy designed email, you can use a plain text. Now, I'd always suggest split testing the two because different audience, different lists react to different things. However, from our experience, we've found that a plain text outperforms a designed email 9 times out of 10 because you're really able to build that personal connection with the reader. So, email 1, what you're going to want to do is introduce the brand, tell a bit about yourself, and encourage purchases with your offer. You can also link to your bestsellers. Just as an example, to show you I'm not lying, here's a test that we ran. So looking at this A/B test between a plain text and a design welcome, we can see that the plain text absolutely smashed the designed welcome in terms of both click rate and revenue generated. So that's just one example of how a plain text from the founder or whoever's the voice behind the brand really works. And it also makes you stand out in the inbox. People's sales guards are down. So I would highly recommend creating a plain text, and if you really like, split testing it against a design email. Now, following this welcome, what you're going to want to do is give people a time delay. These time delays should typically be structured based on your typical sending cadence. So if you're sending 3 campaigns a week, maybe you do a 2 or 3 day time delay. Essentially, the purpose of this is to train people to open your emails at specific times. So if you're sending 3 campaigns a week, within this flow, you send an email every 3 days, for instance. That way people are trained, once they sign up 3 days later, they know they're going to receive another email from you. And then when they actually fall into your email ecosystem and you start sending them campaigns, they're used to that sending cadence. And that's how you really train for the open. And then following this time delay, what you're going to want to do is create a conditional split for have they purchased since starting this flow, yes or no. And the reason for this is because if someone converts off the first email, then you're going to want to treat them very differently and send them different things as opposed to someone who hasn't converted off the first email. So we have this split, and then we have our yes or no wing. So for now I'm going to focus on the yes wing because this is a bit simpler. So someone signs up to your email list, they receive the first email, and then they purchase. Cool. So email 2 should be about your brand story. If they purchased, clearly they like what they saw in the first email. So now this becomes your opportunity with email 2 to actually educate the reader about who you are, what makes you different. The purpose of this is to indoctrinate them into the brand as much as possible here. So for email 2, you're going to want your brand story. And then within all these emails, like I said, you're going to want to follow a typical time delay of your sending cadence, e.g. wait 3 days, email 3. And then for email 3, after someone has received your brand story, you're going to want to include something. It doesn't have to be, this isn't set in concrete strategy, but this is just one thing we like to do, is include social proof. The purpose for this is to basically share stories and transformations that your brand has been able to create for your current customers. This helps build people's excitement and instills trust in the brand, further indoctrinating them into who you are and what you do and why they should love you as a brand. And also, if they have ordered and for whatever reason their order hasn't arrived yet, then it helps them to stay in the loop and get excited. And then following that, you don't want to hound people too much. If they've converted from the first email, then ideally what you like to do is indoctrinate them further with your post-purchase / fulfilled order experience and your typical campaigns. So then you just include a third email within the purchase wing, i.e. email 4 with socials, just to bring them further into your ecosystem. So whether that's your TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, etc., just so they can stay in the loop and stay in touch with your brand. Now, moving into the important part, which is if they haven't purchased off your initial welcome. So the purpose of this swing is to essentially optimize for conversions. If they haven't purchased off the first email, then there's obviously a reason for it. They signed up to receive your discount, so they like what you did at some point, but clearly they're not convinced yet. So email 2 on the knowing, i.e. the first email, is going to be a designed welcome. So this you can add a bit more spice to. For example, if you had a designed welcome for email 1, you split tested it against plain text and the plain text one, then you can always move this design welcome to email 2 and just slightly change the angle of it. But essentially here, what you're going to want to do is show a bit more about your brand. So you could just have your headline explain the transformation of really strong above the fold, and then section 2 could be explain the benefits of your product. It also gives you the opportunity to include some testimonials and then bestsellers to reinforce the purchase. And that is how you're going to be able to convey information in the best way. And then you'd obviously have a time delay. Following this, you'd have social proof. So this is building that trust element. So if someone signs up to your brand, they're looking for a transformation, whether you're selling supplements or tents or food, whatever it is, what they're looking for is, how can this make my life different, So email 3 is going to be social proof. What I suggest here is scouring through your reviews and taking the most powerful ones that really show, wow, this brand is amazing, look what they've done for our customers, this could be you. And then you can also use some risk reversals within that. So that's email 3. And then following that, we're going to have a FAQs email. So they've learned about the brand if they haven't purchased, and then they've seen what your brand can do for other people. If they're still not convinced, then it may be a case of, I'm not sure about the product. This is where your FAQs come in handy. So ideally for this email, you're going to want to answer your most commonly asked questions. One thing I would highly recommend here is going through your customer support chats and actually looking for what people are interested in. When you combine this approach with research into not only your product, but the market, what people are looking for, go on Reddit, YouTube, Instagram, Quora, wherever it is. If you thoroughly research into what people are looking for within your market, what your competitors are doing, then you should be able to answer some commonly asked questions. For example, if it's a supplement, A lot of supplements are fugazi, so being able to instill that trust and show why you're legit is super important. Or if you're selling meat, it's going to be, oh, how do I know that my meat hasn't gone off? So these are really important for not only building trust, but letting customers know you're real and you're about what you do. So that's email 4. Move forward into email 5. Now there is some choice of option here. It depends on how extensive you're looking to make your welcome flow. However, just looking at it briefly, some other ideas for what you could do here are an us versus them. So, for example, me versus supermarkets, my supplement brand versus other supplement brands, why, whatever. You get the point. Basically, you're comparing yourself and your brand to what else is out there on the market, and you're aiming to achieve that clear contrast that shows you are the better choice in this scenario. And then you could also include some links to the socials. So this is just for the same purpose of indoctrinating the reader into your brand. Maybe you have a YouTube that goes over how you can use your products, stories, etc., etc. This is all to indoctrinate. And then what you can also do that works very well, we found in our experience, is stories from the brand. So whether that's the owner and they have a backstory of, I used to work in X industry and I saw that people were facing this problem, so I did this to solve it. Here's where the brand is today. Things like that always tend to work really well, because not only does it create that human aspect, but it adds reason to the brand. It shows you're not just fake and selling whatever it is you're selling for the sake of it. You're actually out here to solve people's problems. And then you can include some funny things as well. So yeah. And then, so following this email slash emails, you're going to want to do another conditional split for have they purchased, yes or no. If they have purchased, then cool. Ideally, you're going to want to have that link down here. We will get into this in a second. However, if they haven't purchased, you're going to want to send them a follow-up. Now, in our experience, we've found that plain text also work really well here. But essentially, there are multiple reasons for why. If someone has been through your whole flow and you've been able to attack every angle for the sakes of them converting, and they haven't converted yet, then there could be another reason. So email 6 within this flow is just going to be an offer follow-up. You can do it as a plain text from the founder. Hey, I can still see you haven't used your discount yet. Is there anything we could help with? If there's a scarcity on your discount, or it expires after 2 weeks or whatever it is, then you can include that as well. But essentially, these follow-up emails are going to be covering the different angles. So you could do, hey, I see you haven't used a discount yet. Feel free to ask any questions. And you could do a follow-up email on that. Like one of our customers came to us with this story. Here's how we helped. Maybe it's a price objection, so you can handle that and compare it to another choice. Essentially, these are converting the customers who haven't been able to get into that yet. And then last but not least, within the welcome flow, this is one massive thing that we've found always performs that we don't see many people doing, which we'd highly recommend, and that is creating a drip email sequence. So as you can see within this flow, this is sort of how it'd look in Klaviyo. So you go through the flow, and by the end of it, all emails link to this thing called a drip email sequence. That drip email sequence is pretty much what it says it is. It's emails, a collection of your highest performing emails. Typically they're campaigns. So if you're sending 3 campaigns a week throughout all your data, you can see that this angle works really well. We did a story from whoever here. We did this socials email and it worked really well. You're going to want to collate them and put them into a sequence at the end of your flow. not only does this increase your chance of optimization because you're handpicking the best performers, it also allows you to tailor your customer's experience. So, for example, if you're selling various types of products, you can sell different products in that. It essentially gives you the best chances of converting and training people to open your emails. For example, if you're sending X times a week, you can replicate that within this sequence. And instead of someone finishing a flow and going straight into your campaigns that may be slightly different in nature to what you'd like to do with someone outside of your welcome flow, you can still keep them within that ecosystem and tailor their experience completely, which is what you're looking for at the end of the day. So that's about that for the welcome flow. I'm going to stop waffling and I'm going to show you an example of how this could look. So here's an example of a flow we put together. So as you can see, welcome one. Thanks for joining us. Here's why we started, a bit about the brand. Here's your welcome discount, boom, boom, boom. And then you can have a designed welcome, strong above the fold, brand story, benefits about the brand. You can include some testimonials too, and then a bestsellers to reinforce that purchase. If you're looking for an us versus them, here's an example, us versus the other market, reinstating bestsellers. Social proof. This is a nice way to do it. So you can just hear from the community why we're so loved. Testimonial, join them, reinforce the bestsellers. FAQs, simple one. As I said, I'd highly recommend you go through your customer support chats and research before actually coming up with these FAQs. And then you can answer all your objections here and then include whatever you like underneath that. Simple idea for a socials email. You could also include GIFs on this, things to make it a bit more interactive. If you have YouTube videos and whatnot, you can direct people to different places. I always find that's really good. And then here's just a plain text follow-up. I can see you still haven't used your discount yet. There you go. So that's about all for a welcome flow. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. We found this works 10 times out of 10. And if you really want to print in 2026, this is how you're going to do it. So I hope you enjoyed. As always, it's been a pleasure, chaps, and speak soon. Thank you very much.